It's February 23rd, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a fortress sealed with no easy escape, a printed book that ensured ideas, and a metal once rarer than gold turned into mass production. Let's begin. On February 23rd, 1836, the horizon outside of San Antonio darkened with movement. Mexican General Antonio Lopez had arrived, and with him thousands of soldiers marching towards the crumbling mission known as the Alamo. A lookout at San Fernando Church spotted the approaching army first. Inside the mission wells, roughly 200 Texan defenders scrambled into position. There would be no retreat now. Among them was William B. Travis, James Bowie, and Davy Crockett. Then came the signal. A blood-red flag was risen above the church tower, a universal message of no quarter, no mercy, no prisoners. Inside the Alamo, the meaning was clear. They were not being asked to surrender. They were being told they would die. In response, a single thunderous blast erupted from the Texan 18-pounder cannon, a defiant answer echoing across the field. The Mexican army surrounded the compound. Supplies were scarce and reinforcements uncertain. The Texans were hopelessly outnumbered. For 13 days, artillery pounded the mission walls. Sleep became impossible, and the nights were filled with drums, bugles, and the creeping uncertainty of what was to come. It was the silence after the first cannon shot that felt most ominous. The siege had begun, and everyone inside the Alamo already knew how it would end. On February 23, 1455, in the quiet city of Mayuz, a machine whispered to life, and the world began to change. Inside a modest workshop, Johannes Gutenberg completed something no one had ever seen before, a full Latin Bible. Not produced by hand, but by metal, ink, and pressure. They would later call it the 42-line Bible, each page precisely aligned, each letter cast from a reusable metal type. Oil-based ink clung to the paper with darkness and clarity scribes could never replicate. For centuries, the book had been copied slowly, painstakingly, by scribes. Knowledge moved at the speed of candle flame, and now a single press could print thousands of pages a day. Roughly 160 to 180 copies were made, and fewer than 50 survive today, with only 20 complete copies remaining. This revolutionary creation, the spark of the Renaissance, and the birth of mass communication, destroyed the man who built it. Shortly after its completion, Gutenberg lost his workshop and control of his projects to his financial backer. He died years later, not rich, not powerful, but overshadowed by his own invention. A Bible was finished, but what truly emerged from the press wasn't just a scripture. It was the unstoppable ideas and the knowledge of how it could be multiplied. On February 23, 1886, inside a small woodshed in Oberlin, Ohio, a 22-year-old chemist leaned over a crude handmade furnace and quietly altered the future. His name was Charles Martin Hall, and at the time, aluminum was rarer than silver, making it more expensive than gold in some markets. Emperors wore it as jewelry, and scientists called it beautiful, but nearly impossible to extract. Halls refused to accept that. In that shed, surrounded by wires, batteries, and impoverished equipment, he dissolved alumina into a molten cryolite and sent electrical current surging through it. What happened next seemed almost unreal. Pure aluminum separated and pooled at the bottom. A metal once considered semi-precious had just been unlocked. At nearly the exact same time in France, chemist Paul Hérold discovered the same process independently. Two minds solving the same impossible riddle in the same year. History would call it the Hall-Hérold process. Within decades, the price of aluminum would collapse, dropping by nearly 200 times. The metal, once crowned by royalty, began building airplanes, power lines, skyscrapers, and weapons. With the flicker of electricity in that wooden shed, a metal once trapped in a stone for millennia was finally set free. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next Eerie dose is just a day away.